Hey guys, day 8 of the Red Letter Challenge. Today is Worship the Lord your God, which comes from Luke 4:8. Everyone worships something or something, someone or something. I grew up near Memphis, Tennessee. During those years, there was a baseball player known as Penny who was lighting up the NCAA with his talent at Memphis State University. In fact, Anthony Penny Hardaway was so good that he would later get drafted by the Orlando Magic and team up with Shaquille O'Neal. I couldn't get enough of Penny. I went to the basketball camp that he held in Memphis. He once signed a blank sheet of paper for me, and I had cherished this piece of paper so much. It had a special place in my room that no one was allowed to see or touch. I collected his basketball cards, hung posters of him on my wall, and even bought his basketball shoes, which were called Air Pennies. By the way, they are still the coolest pair of basketball shoes ever made. I didn't realize at that time, but I was essentially worshiping Penny. In fact, I thought a lot more of him than I thought of the one who created him. Don't get me wrong, Penny had a great basketball career that only ended because of injury, and even today he's known for his charity work. He has a great reputation in Memphis and across basketball. But as great as he was, Anthony Hardaway is just a man. And one day he will die. As the devotional for today is, as a child, we can understand this sort of adoration and devotion to a hero or a sports star. But there are many of us as adults who still struggle with worshiping the wrong things or people. We worship things that will not last. Some of the things we worship is some of us worship people. Some of us worship money. Some of us worship stuff. Some of us worship sex. Some of us worship a political party. And some of us worship our careers. The definition of worship is the relevant love and devotion accorded to a deity, an idol, or a sacred object. Many people, even Christians, equate worship with a 60 or 75-minute service on Sunday morning. Please, nothing more than 90 minutes. And that service certainly is worship. But worship is much more than that. God is not confined to a building or a time frame, and neither is our worship. Worship describes who we are 24/7. If to be worshipful means having expressions of reverence and adoration for a deity, doesn't that mean that we are, or at least can be, worshiping at all times? Harold Best says, "We do not go to church to worship, but already at worship, we join our brothers and sisters in continuing those actions that we should have been doing, privately, family, and even corporately all week long." Paul expresses this ideal in Romans 12:1. He writes, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship." He says that our whole lives are worship. Whenever we reflect the love of God, we are worshiping Him. Martin Luther once said, "The worship of God should be free at table, in private rooms, downstairs, upstairs, at home, abroad, in all places, by all peoples, at all times." Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King. What they are saying is that worship happens when I'm around others and when I'm alone in public and in private. Worship happens when I'm out with my friends, when I'm at work. It happens when I'm watching TV, when I'm watching sports, and when I'm online. Worship ought to happen at the church with others and at my home on my own. No matter where you are or what you are doing, you have the potential to be ascribing worth, praise, and glory to God. Everything you do could act as worship. Look at your life this way, and it will start affecting the everyday decisions that you make. Pretty soon, you will be asking yourself, if I'm worshiping God right now, would I do this? Would I go here? Would I buy this? What would I do here? And you will find yourself asking those questions more often. You are on the right track. And if you find yourself asking those questions more often, then you are on the right track. God is not confined to a building or a time frame, and neither is our worship. Hey guys, so in the Bible reading part of this, it's about Psalms 96. So the Psalms are a great place to see the heart of worship. Psalms 96 is a favorite of mine. So I'm not going to read Psalms 96. I want you guys to do that. It's 13 verses. I want you to comment below what verse 7 is talking about.
Challenge and reflection. Our third discipline is to worship God. People worship differently, but most people think of music when they think of worship. Music can help us usher in to God's presence and feel things in ways that otherwise we would not. Your challenge for today is to listen to worship music. Here are a few ways you could do this. 1. Go for a walk and listen to praise and worship music. 2. Turn off your phone and computer and read through some Psalms with background music playing. 3. Listen to praise and worship music free from distraction. 4. Rather than listening to politics, sports, or the top 40, tune into your local Christian radio station on your drives around town. If you need help finding great Christian worship music, I would recommend any of the following: Elevation Worship, Hillsong Worship, Bethel Music, Jesus Culture, and Passion. So Elevate students, there are also plenty of other worship bands you could listen to. Feel free to ask Pastor Dan or I. If there's ever a song that you hear at youth and you want to know who the artist is, just ask us and we'll be happy to let you know.